Greetings, WrestleTakers. I'm your host, Reardon Steele, here to give you my take on the debut episode of All Elite Wrestling Dynamite. Be sure to slam that subscribe button, leg drop that like button, and snapmare that share button for the continuation and growth of WrestleTake. The inaugural episode of Wednesday Night Dynamite comes to us live from America's capital, Washington, D.C. The first scheduled matchup is Cody Rhodes versus Sammy Guevara. AEW Dynamite kicks off with Cody Rhodes and his wife Brandi rising out of the ground. This is very similar to Cody's entrance at All Out. Columns of fiery pyrotechnics erupt to the sides of Cody and Brandi. They walk down to the ring to an enormous pop, and we even see Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes in the crowd. Sammy Guevara comes out next, sporting his panda head, and the first match is underway. Cody hits a lot of his signature offense, like his drop chop, an old school power slam, the figure 4 leg lock, a wicked Oz cutter, and his patented disaster kick. He even does a brutal reverse suplex, but he can't keep Sammy Guevara down. At one point, Guevara is outside the ring and Cody goes for a suicide dive, but Guevara pulls Brandi in his path and Cody takes out Brandi. Later, Guevara gets Rhodes down and goes for a top rope shooting star press, but Cody gets his knees up. He rolls Sammy up and gets the 3 count for the win. Cody and Brandi celebrate. Sammy shakes hands with Cody, but as we immediately find out, this is just to distract Cody as Chris Jericho hits the ring and attacks Cody from behind. This match earns a WrestleTake score of a 90 out of 100. This is a fantastic, memorable way to kick off the first ever Wednesday Night Dynamite. Cody gets the win while still making Guevara look awesome. Chris Jericho, La Champion, starts the build toward his first title defense against Cody, which is coming up at the November 9th pay-per-view, Full Gear. Next up, we have Maxwell Jacob Friedman versus Brandon Cutler. MJF comes out and cuts one of his classic heel promos, putting down both the crowd and Cutler. MJF then proceeds to take control of the match. He works the arm and locks Cutler in his Salt of the Earth armbar submission for the win. This match earns a WrestleTake score of a 75 out of 100. This was a quick, solid match. Cutler didn't look too great here, but he did his job putting MJF over. Maxwell Jacob Friedman is the future of professional wrestling. I think he's going to be one of the next megastars, such as Steve Austin or The Rock. He's got one of the best promos today. He's got that natural main event presence, and he puts on great matches. Next up, we get Pac versus Adam Hangman Page. These guys beat the crap out of each other with kicks and chops, a huge lariat, and drives into the guardrails. Page hit a suicide drive on Pac, then shortly after he hit a standing shooting star press. Pac hits a 450 splash, and later the bastard Pac hits an unseen low blow, followed by his black arrow and a brutalizer submission for the win. This match earns a WrestleTake score of a 95. Both of these guys looked great. They protected Adam Page with the low blow, followed by both of Pac's finishers. This was my overall match of the night. Next up, we have Rio versus Nyla Rose for the AEW Women's World Championship. Rio delivers forearms, chops, a head scissors takedown, and more quick offensive moves. Nyla Rose plods and uses power moves. They botch a few moves, but they recover okay. There's a decent spot where Rose puts Rio in a pile of chairs, goes for a senton bomb. Rio moves, she hits the chairs. Later, we have Rio hitting a superplex on Nyla Rose. Then she does a double knee strike for the pinfall. This match earns a WrestleTake score of a 60. This was the weakest match on the card. It's usually hard to believe that someone that weighs 100 pounds can slam and effectively strike someone who looks like they weigh 300 pounds. To me, these two simply don't work all that well together in the ring. I've seen better out of both wrestlers, and I just overall didn't care too much for the match. In the main event of the evening, we get the Elite Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks versus Chris Jericho, Santana, and Ortiz. Kenny Omega and Santana exchange offense, then the Young Bucks threw the first super kick party on Wednesday Night Dynamite, followed by outside dive. Omega calls for the rise of the Terminator, but suddenly, Jon Moxley attacks Omega from behind and they fight into the crowd. Omega the Cleaner summons his inner Toxic Avenger and nails Mox with a mop. They continue fighting into the VIP area where Moxley does a nasty high-angle double underhook DDT through a glass coffee table, effectively removing Omega from the match. Back in the ring, it's now a 3-on-2 handicap match. Santana and Ortiz work over the Young Bucks with tag team moves. Jericho goes for a lion salt on Matt Jackson, but Matt raises his knees. Jericho tags out and they keep Matt cut off from Nick. Matt finally tags his brother in and Nick cleans house. He tags Matt back in, they go for the Meltzer driver, but Jericho runs in and lands the code breaker on an airborne Nick Jackson. Santana and Ortiz do an assisted cannonball senton in the corner to Matt. Then they whip Matt into Jericho's Judas Effect elbow and Chris Jericho picks up the pinfall win. After the match is over, Jericho, Santana, and Ortiz continue to beat up the Young Bucks. Then Cody Rhodes runs out to help his buddies out. Then Sammy Guevara runs out and attacks Cody. Dustin Rhodes runs out and starts cleaning house. Then Jake Hager, formerly Jack Swagger, runs out and beats up Dustin. Chris Jericho, Jake Hager, Sammy Guevara, Santana, and Ortiz stand over their fallen victims looking like a new heel faction as the first episode of AEW goes off air. This match earns a WrestleTake score of a 90 out of 100. Okay, WrestleTakers, here's my final take. AEW Wednesday Night Dynamite earns a WrestleTake overall score of a 90. WrestleTake scores are calculated by averaging the match scores, then adding the total to an overall show wow factor score. This was the most professional and polished-looking All Elite Wrestling show to date. In each of their pay-per-views, AEW has had production issues, missing obvious shots of big wrestling moments. The only time they had anything like that here was when Omega and Moxley went into the crowd. This is a fantastic start to what I believe is the biggest pro wrestling game changer since Hulk Hogan turned heel or since WWF bought WCW. All Elite Wrestling is the company wrestling fans have always craved. Tony Khan, the owner, is a pro wrestling superfan like anyone watching this channel. The guys who organized All Elite Wrestling, Cody Rhodes, the Young Bucks, and Kenny Omega, are not only some of the best wrestlers in the world today, but they're also some of the most positive, selfless wrestlers out there. They want to see everyone succeed. They've already helped out other promotions. They get the philosophy that a rising tide lifts all boats. If you agree with that philosophy, then I'd appreciate it if you'd like my video, subscribe, and share it on social media. I want to keep bringing you my WrestleTakes on All Elite Wrestling and other wrestling promotions. Until next time, WrestleTakers, take care.